You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Hello and welcome to Living Full Out Show. My name is Nancy Solari, and today we're going to be talking about opening up in your life to people about what you're going through. So oftentimes when we have a struggle in our life, we feel like we have to conquer it all by ourselves, but that's actually kind of a silly concept because every time we do anything, if we can involve more people, we can get there faster, whether that's going for a dream or even when we are managing or handling an obstacle or a challenge in our life. If we have the assistance of others, again, we can get over that hurdle so much more quicker. So today we are talking about how to open up, how to start that dialogue. If you have questions on today's topic, I want to make sure that you reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com so we can get you resources. Also, stay with us because in our next segment, we'll be joined by Mira Vigian, and she's going to talk about how she has gone through several different sexual harassment moments in her life, but how she didn't keep that a secret, how she learned to open up and share with people what she had gone through. And just like Mira, if you have an inspirational story that you'd like to share with our community and we can learn from you, then also reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com because that's what this community is for. We're all here to teach each other, learn, and then take action as we live full out. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hello. How you doing?
Hi, thank you for calling in. Hi, how can we help you today?
So I just wanted to ask you guys a question today, see if I could get some good feedback.
Absolutely. What's going on?
Okay, so I'm in my last semester of college, getting ready to graduate. I'm living away from home. I'm independent, basically. My family is nowhere around, and I'm basically self-employed right now. And I just have a question. So I have to take care of everything basically on my own. I'm independent, and it's kind of hard for me being away from my family and everything. And I graduate in May, and I'm just worried I'll be stuck jobless because it's a competitive market out there. And I just wanted to see if you guys could give me some feedback on how can I best prepare for this.
You know what? If I could go back in time, I remember exactly where you are. You know, you're getting that degree, and you just hope that everything that you've been working towards works out, right? But in life, aren't we kind of like that in life anyway? You know, we start a diet, we hope it works out. We start a relationship, we hope it thrives, right? The first thing is you got to stay positive and you got to hold on to that hope. And you really got to believe in yourself. Do you believe in yourself?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And so what is your career goal? What are you shooting for?
Well, I'm getting my degree in consumer affairs, and I just want to work possibly with businesses, help protect the consumer affairs as well, and basically protect businesses and the consumers.
Well, and that's very purposeful, right? So
yes.
To help a consumer, though, you have to live the consumer's life, right? You have to have times when you're disappointed, times when you've seen great service, kind of have that list of I wish I hads, right? And so everything that you're going through as a student learning, but even all the life experiences that you have, they're layering, they're building to help assist you to become that professional. So here's the good news. You're going to get a great degree. You're going to be so proud that you have it, and you really should be because, that's a lot of studying and getting good grades. But then second to that, whatever job you get, even if it's not the ideal job, the dream job, whatever job you get will teach you something. And it's not a forever job. So when you think about the worries of I'm on my own and will I make it, will I be jobless? Absolutely, all those options are possible. All those negative, worst scenario options are possible. But what you want to do is you want to stand up for yourself and you want to say, you know what? I believe in myself. I know that whatever job I get is going to pay my bills. I know that I'm going to learn, and I know that I'm going to just grow, and then I'm going to look for a better job and a better job. Because that's really what we do as professionals. I don't know anybody who graduates and all of a sudden it's the dream job. Okay? So I want you to take all this stress off your shoulders about the woulda, coulda, shouldas, or the what ifs, like what could happen. And I want you to just enjoy this moment. Enjoy being a student. Enjoy studying. Get that degree. And just hold on to the faith and believe in yourself that whatever job you get after you graduate, it will be enough. And it will teach you what you need. And when you kind of have that mindset, you're freed from all the heavy burdens because you're living in the moment. You can't control the future. It hasn't happened yet. Right?
Right.
Okay? So live in the moment. Start that process today. When you're studying, study on that one test that you have. Don't let the future clutter your mind with negativity and just allow yourself to dream big, be realistic, but live in the moment. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for calling in, though. We'll be wishing you great things, okay? Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, too.
Thank you. I really appreciate that he asked that question because he's opening up. He's recognizing this is a fear, this is a stress I have, and how do I get rid of that? Because it's yucky. All that negativity really does hold us back. Now, I'm getting a word from our producer that we have another caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, thank you for calling. How can we help you?
Yeah, I'm working in an internship right now, and I want to get into working full-time after my internship ends. And the reason this is important to me is I feel like people look down on me for not being employed. And I just want to join the pack and fit in with the working professionals and even be worthy enough to, have a girlfriend.
You know what? I love that. The extra icing on the cake. Have the girlfriend too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And get sleep. Here's the thing. Thank you for calling in and kind of being leading this conversation for all of us, because the thing is what you just said, that and a girlfriend to boot. That's how you want to live life. You want to go for the stars, shoot for it, right? And the thing is how life is going to unfold for you. It hasn't happened yet, so we don't have that crystal ball. But if you stay positive, if you keep working hard, you will get there. Now, I want to address your original question, though, right? Because you're interning right now, but you want a job. You want to feel like you're giving back, you're making your own money, maybe having your own place, getting that girlfriend, and so forth. What you want to do is you want to, first of all, start listing out all of the skills that you're good at, all of your strengths, and relate those to your chosen career, what you want to do. That's number one, and it's really important because when you sit in an interview, that employer is going to ask you, so tell me about yourself, tell me about your experience. And I've been on the other side interviewing a lot of people, and I'll tell you, there's a lot of people who don't know who they are. They haven't taken that time to do the work. So make a list, and it can be 10 items, it can be 20, and then connect those skills, those attributes to your chosen profession. And what is that? What do you want to do for a living?
I want to get into writing, business writing.
Okay, perfect. So let's just say, what do you think one of your best skills are? What do you think a good one is? Just one.
I'm good at, coordinating different tasks, like writing tasks with people. I'm good with people and getting along with people well. And
okay, so let's look at that, right? Coordinating, getting along with people well. Do you think that's an important quality of a journalist, of a writer?
Yeah, definitely. If you're collaborating and, if you're trying to write a piece and, you want to make the piece come out really nice and crisp. Yeah.
Absolutely. So like on this list I'm asking you to put together, number one would be the fact that you work well with people. And then you want to write a paragraph about why that's important. Maybe the fact that you work well with people means that you will be a great interviewer. Maybe it means that, you make people feel comfortable, therefore they are able to relax as you're interviewing them. Collaborating, that's important. Think about the different partnerships that happen with blogging, newspaper, magazine, broadcasting. They have those people skills. So go down the list, think of all the things that are positive about you, relate them to your chosen career. Then from there, I want you to take it up a notch further, and I want you to find some local professionals that you admire who are also writers. And I want you to contact them by phone or take them out for coffee, and I want you to interview them. Find out, how was their start? What was their major? What was their first job? What regrets do they have? If you do that, I know you'll be living full out. Thank you so much for calling in.
Sounds great.
Everybody, we're talking today about living full out and going for it. We'll be back.
Hi, professional skateboarder Tony Hawk here with Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck to remind you to get moving every day.
Because when you get moving an hour a day,
You'll have the energy to skate through anything.
nice play on words, Doc.
That's how I roll, Bugs. So whether you like to work the half pipe,
Now that's catching air.
kick the soccer ball around, or dance in your room
Just move it your way.
for an hour a day.
The way you like to move, as long as you're moving.
Carve out some time every day and get active, because it's time to do a 180 on what you think exercise is.
Because it can be whatever you want it to be. So be a player.
Be a player.
Get up and play an hour a day, Doc. Check out how to be a player at letsmove.gov.
Head online to get tips on great ways to get moving every day.
At www.letsmove.gov. Let's hear that one more time, Doc. That's www.letsmove.gov. A message from the Ad Council and HHS.
Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. At 6 I make his breakfast. Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. At 6 I make his breakfast. At 7 I shower. Every day I wake up
For
at
those
5.
caring for a loved one, we hear you. That's why AARP created a community to help us better care for ourselves and the ones we love. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
I'm Sarah, and this is my story.
I'm Ellen, and this is my story.
One night, I was at a bar.
One night, I was at a bar.
I was having fun with my friends.
I was having fun with my friends.
I had one too many drinks.
I had one too many drinks.
I got behind the wheel to go home.
I got a cab to go home.
All of a sudden, from out of nowhere, a squirrel ran across the road.
And all of a sudden, from out of nowhere, a squirrel ran across the road.
It happened so quickly, I barely had time to react.
It happened so quickly, the cabbie barely had time to react.
I swerved.
The cab swerved.
I can't believe it. I hit a guy.
I cannot believe it. The cabbie just missed a guy.
I wish I took a cab.
Thank goodness I took a cab.
You have the choice to save a life. Don't drive buzzed. It's a decision you'll never regret. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Hey, America, we need to have a little talk. We've got more food than we know what to do with in this country, yet 17 million kids in America are struggling with hunger. Makes no sense. Luckily, the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks has volunteers gathering excess food and getting it to hungry kids. They're kind of like food angels. Hey, become a food angel yourself by supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
If you think depression is all in a person's head, you're right. It's a brain illness. And like other illnesses, it has symptoms. Depression can make those who suffer from it feel hopeless. It can even lead to suicide. Learn how to stop depression from taking another life. Call SAVE, Suicide Awareness Voices of Education, 1-888-511-SAVE, on the web at save.org.
I'm Alec Baldwin. Like any parent, I'm concerned about children's health. Many kids don't eat as they should and are at risk for long-term health problems like diabetes and heart disease. But here's good news. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and other low-fat vegetarian foods can protect our kids and keep the rest of the family healthy too. For a free booklet, call the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine at 1-877-685-KIDS or visit www.kidsgethealthy.org.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. With Nancy's expertise, you'll learn how to embrace your potential and strive for success. If you have a question or need further support, send us an email at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back. My name is Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about opening up and how we go through that process of finding the right words to explain and convey to others what is happening in our life. And that can be burdens and challenges and all the things that stress us out, but can also be figuring out how to verbalize and express our dreams, our goals, things that we have passions for. And our inspirational guest today, Mira Vijan, is a perfect example of living full out after being sexually abused and harassed, pretty much most of her life. And she's going to walk us through different events and how she was eventually able to open up. So I very much like to welcome Mira to the show.
Hi, Nancy. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. And, I first of all, this topic is one that is kind of taboo. A lot of people don't want to talk about it, but it's in the news, it's in our environment, and for you experienced it even at a really young age. I believe it was 10 years old that you had your first encounter. Can you share with us about that?
Yes, I was sexually assaulted as a child, and it took me a long, long time to open up and talk about it. I grew up in India, so there was a big stigma about talking about sexual assault or anything to do with our sexuality. So it took me many, many years, and I think it was in my 20s that I eventually decided that this is an experience I cannot keep quiet about because I saw it happening to other women, and decided to speak up about it.
Now, when you were 10, though, it was a tutor that actually kind of violated your space. And here you were, 10 years old, which is so young. And did you know that what he was trying to do was wrong? And how far was he trying to push it?
He was a tutor who used to come home in the afternoons to teach me math. And it wasn't something that really, he would try and put his hand up my skirt, and it was something that scared me first, but it wasn't something that I could talk about openly to my parents because I was very nervous. I didn't understand what was happening. And also I was very confused about what was happening. The only thing that I knew was that it felt wrong, and it was not a place that I wanted to be in. It was not something that was right. So
now a lot of times these tend to be like he said, she said moments. The saving grace for you as a young child was that your sister was actually present for a lot of these. And did you guys kind of have a pact that you wouldn't tell your parents? And, was she there to kind of hold him back from going further?
Yes, my sister was a preschooler around that time, and she was in the room, and she was a witness to this incident, and she was too young to understand what was happening. But, her presence there at that time gave me a lot of strength to stand up to him. We were both very young, both did not know what was happening. We just knew it was wrong, and she knew I was scared. So I did ask her not to tell my parents because I was very worried about I was very worried about getting reprimanded or being punished because I thought it was my fault. But yes, she was there in the room, and she was the first witness, and she kept it a secret for a long, long time.
It's interesting, though, because even at 10 years old, while you weren't opening up to your parents, you did one day stand up for yourself and tell him to stop it, knock it off, or you would tell your parents. Where did that courage come from at 10 years old?
It was very interesting, that moment, because what would happen is the tutor would come home and he would say, you stay in the room, and he would ask my sister to leave and close the door. And my sister would constantly do this. She would go to fetch water, or, he would send her on some errand. And I had told her, please stay in the room and don't leave. And because I asked her to, and she sensed that I was scared, she stayed in the room. And that gave me the strength to stand up to him and tell him that I would tell my mother if he did anything more. And something really unbelievable happened. I think he was worried that I would tell on him. So he left and he never came back. Of course, he did tell the whole colony. We had relatives calling in saying, hey, we heard that this tutor wasn't coming around to your house anymore because your child is not studying well or is not being cooperative. But I didn't mind that accusation because at that time, I was so terrified as to what he would do to me. I didn't mind taking the blame. And for a lot of time, for many, many years, I did feel it was my fault. But I was so happy that my sister was there and she gave me the strength when I needed it.
Well, and that's the interesting thing is sometimes if we just kind of can look at our surroundings, we can find moments where we have those escape moments or people who can stay with us to give us strength. Now, sexual harassment and abuse is physical, but it can also be verbal. And when you were 17, you had a college class a classmate in high school that was also harassing you verbally. What was the scenario there?
Well, I had a lot of incidents of harassment. I faced a lot of incidents both in high school and in my early years of college. The incident that happened when I think this was the incident that you were talking about is my first year of college, if I'm not mistaken. But sorry, did you say something?
No. I'm just wondering because sometimes it's the power of words. So, and it's not just men, it's not just women that can do the harassing. It can go both ways. But, around that time, you had been receiving letters and messages that would taunt you and tell you what this person was going to do. And I imagine that added, a layer of nervousness and just kind of compounded what you encountered at 10. So I imagine that just kind of all of that shapes the woman that you become. And, even when you were in your early 20s, 21 and 25, you had moments where men would pull down their pants, on the street or you got attacked. And can you share with us some of those moments?
Yes, there was one particular incident where my best friend and we were walking home one afternoon. It was a very sunny morning in India, and it wasn't an abandoned alleyway or anything. We were walking down the main street, and there was a man who cycled past us, and he just stopped his cycle and he pulled down his pants and he began masturbating in front of us.
Mira, the thing that I want to touch on there, because we're going to have to go to a commercial break, I want to pause here because, again, that is not common, but it was common where you grew up. So will you stay with us? And everybody, we're going to be coming right back after this break. This is the Living Full Out Show. I'm Nancy Solari. Stay with us. It's all about finding ways to open up and share your story so that we can educate and support each other. We'll be right back after this break.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey. But people in this town call me Maniac. They call me that because I'm the fastest runner in town. But just because everyone knows who I am doesn't mean I belong. I don't really belong anywhere. You see, I'm an orphan, and I wander the streets just looking for a place that I can truly call home. My name is Maniac McGee, and I'm all alone. Explore new worlds. Read my story in the novel Maniac McGee by Jerry Spinelli. For other great book ideas, visit your local library or log on to literacy.gov. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
Look for the bare necessities.
The bare necessities of healthy living are easier than you think.
You better believe it.
And the food pyramid shows you the way. With just the right amount of exercise and the necessary grains, vegetables, fruits, milk, and meats and beans.
Just the bare necessities of life.
So eat right, be active, and have fun.
Yeah, man.
For your own path to a healthier you, visit mypyramid.gov.
This is really living.
This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Nancy Solari, host of the Living Full Out Show. I am excited to let you know that we are now associated with Alexa. If you have Alexa in your house and you didn't know that, go ahead and find Living Full Out because you can hear us anytime you want, and we're there for you to keep you motivated. Go to your app store because we're located there as well. Just look for the Living Full Out radio show. It's important to us that we put out really inspiring programming, but we want to make sure that you have it at your fingertips when you need us most. We never know when those challenges are going to come, when we're going to feel lonely and need that motivation. So just know that when you need us, we're here for you. Check out Alexa, the app stores, or go to livingfullout.com. Here's to you living full out.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait, communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about opening up and how to do that. And sometimes it takes a lifetime to really feel comfortable for us to find our voice and be able to express what has happened to us in the past. But when you do that, you're able to release yourself going into the future, and then even from there, tapping into a life of purpose, being able to give back and sharing other people's stories. And our inspirational guest today, Mira Virgic, says the same thing, and she honestly is a great example of what it means to live full out. And so I'd like to welcome Mira back to the show.
Thank you, Nancy.
And Mira, I want to kind of go back to where we were at the end of the last segment because, I'm so sorry that day ever happened. Because not only was it violating for someone to do that, to please themselves in front of you, and I'm sure it was shocking at the same time, but you had kind of been there before. You'd seen it, in your culture in India. You had lived it, throughout your high school, college years, even as a 10-year-old. Were you starting to become numb to it at this point?
Yes, I think I did was a sense of, I did have a sense of hopelessness, and I did feel that I had no power to change things. Because I was a college student. When I was a college student, we had so many rules. Moving to the city taught me that this problem is rampant, and yet nobody talks about it. So yes, it wasn't just me. A lot of the young women I went to college with would feel very helpless because we always had to stand up to authority, always had to fight rules, always had to try and educate people, saying, it is not necessarily my fault when someone violates me.
Mm-hmm. Well, and we didn't get to, one of your other stories. You were actually attacked again at 25. What happened in that scenario?
Yes, I was walking home one night, and I was followed by two men on a motorbike, and I was dragged along on the road. I almost fractured my shoulder and spent 2 days in the ICU. It was a very, very scary experience because I literally lived across the street, and it was a main road, and it wasn't something that I expected at all. I assumed people would rush to my help, but instead, I found that there is a general apathy in India towards helping young women or even coming to their aid because it could become a medical legal problem. So people often ignore violence on the street. So that was a very scary experience for me. And it did teach me that I have to take a lot of practical measures to keep myself safe. And that was a huge emotional burden to live with every day.
Well, and these are a lot of experiences, from 10 to 25, and there's stories that we haven't even got to in between that I'm sure kind of chipped away at your ability to evolve as a woman and be confident and strong. At this point, were you kind of keeping to yourself? Did it make you more of an introvert?
It made me a little bit more cautious of being out in public because access to public spaces for women was very limited, And I found that one of the things I had started to develop was a sense of fear, a deep fear about wherever I was. I was always hypervigilant, always extra cautious. And it did it was an odd sense of resilience that I felt that this wasn't something that I could change. However, I had to really develop tough skin to take it on because it made me so angry that a person can be taken advantage of like that simply because they're a woman.
Well, but what I admire about you, Mira, is that you took what were really tragic situations and life-changing, and you got curious. You started listening to other women's experiences and found that yours were similar to theirs. And that allowed you to start this process of opening up and sharing your stories, because none of this was really talked about until, how old? When did you first start to come out and share your stories?
I began to talk about it publicly when I was 26. And the way I did it was I knew that I had I didn't have a lot of connections. I didn't have a lot of networks. I just knew that this was a problem that my society wasn't talking about. It was also a problem that young people weren't talking about. And honestly, all I did was I would record and report on incidences that were happening and how I felt about it. And I would go on social media, upload commentary, and talk about some of these things and raise some of these important questions. And eventually, a lot of people started opening up, and I began to connect with a lot of survivors from across the country. And that gave me the strength I needed to go on.
Well, and I know in India this was common in your culture. I mean, this was unfortunately probably a daily basis occurrence of what people saw. But when you came to the United States, did you feel like, things were better here? Or was it just kind of a lot of the same?
biggest differences between my experience in India and my experiences here as an immigrant is that in India, we did not have the institutions necessarily to report sexual violence, and we often felt very, very powerless, especially as women, because it is a very patriarchal, a very socially conservative country. It is changing a lot now, and there have been a lot of changes institutionally. However, when I came to the U.S., I did have a mindset as to I did not expect the extent to which sexual violence is. But I realized that there are those practical approaches that I had to take even when I was in the U.S. I was very confident in the U.S. that I could call the police or report a crime or, go to universities and talk openly about sexual violence. Those were limitations that I had in India. However, the nature of sexual violence hasn't changed, whether it is in the U.S. or whether it is in India, or I even spent a year in the UK. And even over there, people, college authorities would give us an alarm to ring if we were in trouble, if any young female student was in trouble. So I noticed that the problem remains the same, however, the extent of the problem differs. That is one thing that really stuck out for me, and especially as an immigrant now living in Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm. Well, and again, it crosses all boundaries. It can be men and women that get harassed and abused, and having been through it, yet now able to talk about it. For our community that's listening today, if somebody is being assaulted, harassed, what would be the steps that they should consider, to get that freedom, to be able to find the way to get help?
Nancy, what you said is absolutely right. Anybody can be a victim of sexual assault, and there is a lot of problem that we have today in trying to get survivors to speak up, because each survivor has their own story, has their own problems that they're dealing with, and that limits them sometimes from speaking up. However, one thing I can say from my own experience and from staying silent for almost 2 decades about my experience is to see the light in yourself, to relieve some of that pain by talking to someone you trust about your experience, because it will lessen the burden for you. And we cannot afford, as survivors, no matter where we are, to stay silent about this problem, because it is a very, very, very serious problem in society that we need to eradicate.
Absolutely. And we have to kind of wrap up our interview, Mira, but I really admire and I'm proud of you for stepping up and sharing your story. And I know that, sadly, there's going to be people in our audiences and people we just walk by on the street that are dealing with this. And so I very much thank you for being on the show today and sharing, your lessons that you've learned, but also the advice of how we can open up and share what we're going through. So thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you. And for everybody listening today, again, she was able to, after 2 decades, find her voice to talk about what she had gone through, even as young as 10 years old. And in your life, if you are being abused, if you are being harassed, let this be the day that you open up just a little bit. Find one person that you can turn to. And even if you don't disclose everything, kind of start with something small, a little story, right? And sometimes when you open up to someone, you have to consider, who is that person? Are they somebody who will be empathetic? So when you're upset, when you're crying, they'll be a good sounding board. Is it somebody that's resourceful in your life? So you're going to that person because you know that there's somebody who can help you find that solution, that way to get out, or the way to, hold that person back. Most of all, it is super important to believe in yourself. It's so easy to get chipped away at and be whittled down to nothing, because a lot of times these are predators. They groom you, they do everything they can to isolate you and to not have you feel strong, but to make you weaker. And you always want to remember that that person that you always have been and will continue to be is inside you, and you just have to give that inner strength the support it needs. And that starts with opening up. When you're able to do that, now you're able to take that step forward, and then pretty soon the step becomes a leap and then a jump, and then before you know it, you're able to hold on to not just hands, but so many other items in your life that can be anchors. So stay with us. We're going to be coming right back after this break, taking more of your calls about how we can open up, how we can get to where we want to be in life so that we can live full out. Most of all, it just starts with you. Take the time today to tell one person, be courageous. I believe in you. We'll be right back after this break.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
So, Jacqueline.
Yes, Mom?
I wanted to talk to you about something, and... Oh, wait, hold on. I just got a text.
Oh, wait, Mom. I just got a message. So many comments on my comment. Hey, guys, check out my new video game, Mom. What? Huh? What'd you say?
This weekend, unplug. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Thanks for asking, but I'd rather not send you nude pictures. I'm camera shy. I already said no. It's against my religion. I'm giving my dog a bath. You can have pictures of that. Pressure gives me hives. Under my clothes, I'm a robot. Hold on, let me ask my mom. Sorry, my webcam is broken. I'm worried they'll get passed around school. Unfortunately, I just had my clothes surgically attached to my body. If they got out, I might never be president. I'm already naked, under my clothes. Not even if you were all three Jonas Brothers. I have a rash. I have nudophobia. I have lizard skin. The more you ask, the less I want to. You're not the boss of me. Nudity makes me vomit. I'm a vampire, so I don't show up in pictures anyways. Your badgering has really killed the mood. When someone is pressuring you to do something you don't want to, how many ways can you say no before they get the message? Let us know at that'snotcool.com. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearms storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children aged 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat?
Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans. When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer. One place on I want to be a football I want to be a bike that races around the country. I want to be a bench on a forest trail. When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Well, I finally did it. My student loan is totally paid off.
What? What about our plan to win the lottery and start living? You know, travel the world on matching yachts, wear enough jewelry to require a bodyguard, vacation on the French Riviera, and then buy it.
You know we're never going to win the lottery, right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
open up because we might fear, will people believe us? Will we be judged? But you have to think about taking that risk, because to feel isolated, to feel burdened, to feel that heaviness, you want to leap out there and take that risk, open up so that you can live full out.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. Nancy is here as a guide to show you how to rise above obstacles and savor each moment. If you have a question, call in live at 800-333-0001. That's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back to the Living Full Out Show. My name is Nancy Solari, and today we've been talking about opening up, and that can be to get clarity on where we want to go in life. Sometimes we have to open up so we can get the resources that we need and be steered in a direction to follow our passions and goals. Sometimes it's opening up about something that's happened in our past so that we're no longer haunted by the regrets. But whatever it is, you want to find what it is that you need to be released from. Something from the past or a fear of the future. And when you're able to isolate that, when you're able to find a way to verbalize it, now you can tell others what it is that you need. Kind of get that off your chest, because the worst thing is keeping things in your mind, because they begin to fester and then they build and they build and they become bigger than they need to be. That's the beauty of the present, and the great thing about the future is it should be positive. The future hasn't happened yet, so we can't fear what hasn't happened yet. And the present, I believe that there's always solutions in the present. Maybe call me tenacious and ambitious, whatever, but I love that I have the ability to get solutions, to talk to different people and find different avenues to go. So I'm getting word from our producer that we have a caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to Living Full Out Show.
Hi.
Hi, thank you for calling in. How can we help you today?
So I'm going to be graduating in May, and my plan is to move back home to Texas with my parents. And I was just wondering how I could make the transition from living on my own for the past 5 years to being back under my parents' roof as smooth and easy as possible.
Let me ask you a question. Is going back to living with your parents, does that feel like a step forward, kind of a new relationship, a new chapter? Or do you look at it like you're stepping backwards?
It feels like a step backwards to me.
Okay. And the reason why I say that is because we have to start with being honest, right? Because even if you don't tell people that, it's in your mind. That's how you feel, right? Yeah. But why do you feel like it's a step backwards?
I just think because over the past 5 years, since I've been in school, I just have grown and matured so much, and I'd like to think that I'm pretty responsible. So to move back in with my parents, I feel like that's kind of telling people that I'm not as mature and responsible as I think I am.
Now, is that real? Probably not, because you've probably learned, you've probably grown. The way I look at it with this is family and friends, people that we lean on, that we can count on. We hope that they will always be a soft place for us to fall, or the bridge to get to the other side, or a lily pad when you're jumping from one to another. And wouldn't you want to be that same for somebody else? Like if a friend really needed to stay with you, would you say, nope, you're a mature adult, you're educated, you can't stay here? Right? You wouldn't do that,
no, definitely.
Right? And later down the line, if you have kids, and let's say they graduate from college or high school even, and at that point, are you going to lock your door and say, give me my key back?
No.
Right? So the reason why I bring those scenarios up is because your parents and actually moving home, that's exactly what it should be. It's kind of that bridge to get to the other side. Consider moving home like that lily pad for you to springboard from to that next location. Now, it's what you do at the time that counts. That is time for you to save money, yet contribute when and if you can. It's time for you to kind of put together a plan of action. Okay, I'm going to live here for 6 months. I'm going to live here for 1 year. And then contribute. You're paying bills. You're making dinners, right? You're an adult now. And that's going to change the way that moving home will feel. Because there's first of all, there's an out. There's an expiration of when you want to move. And secondly, you're not the you living there before you went to school. You're now the you, the mature you, who's contributing. You see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So look at it like that. It's a positive. Plus, just an extra side note, time with family is so precious. You never know what's going to happen in life. So all those Saturdays, Tuesday nights, make them count. Okay? But thank you so much for calling in, and we'll be wishing you all the best.
Okay, thank you so much.
You got it. And for everybody listening today, it is about opening up, right? That's what this show is here for. We want to make sure that you're supported. So go to Alexa, the App Store, go to livingfullout.com, listen to our show whenever you need us. And most of all, I realize that opening up is hard to do, but that's what it means to live full out. You want to put yourself out there. You want to look towards the future. Try to be as optimistic as you can, even when some days are hard, because it's all about making life count. Not looking in the rearview mirror about the past that you can't get back or you can't control, but looking forward to the future and knowing that you have the ability to make decisions that will lead you in the direction you want to go. Here's to you living your life full out. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to the Living Full Out Show with Nancy Solari. To learn more about this program, visit livingfullout.com for the latest episodes. Connect with the Living Full Out community by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Here's to you, living full out.